No, show. Perfect. All right. Well, hello everyone and good morning. I'm sorry you can't see me over here because I've got to get my camera here, but you can watch me there, right? Good morning everyone, and thank you for coming to our panel. We are Cost Talk Live, and we are a weekly show that streams live every Sunday at 12, although that time might be changing. But typically we've been doing it at 12 every day, Arizona time, because we're all based in Arizona. So we're gonna do quick introductions before we start. My name is Jessica, also known as Jinx Cosplay, and I've been cosplaying since 2001. I do have a guest table down at 18110 next to Wild Bill, so you guys can see me there later, and all of my team will be there as well. And I was hosting the masquerade last night, if anybody saw. So great job to everybody in the masquerade. It was a lot of fun. Thank you very much. And next is...
Hi, I'm Thermopsychic. I don't end up on the camera very often, so hello.
Are you updating my computer?
Yes.
They can all see it. Okay. Next.
Sorry.
Excuse us while we get our lives together. It's been a busy weekend. I'm Head in the Clouds cosplay. Right now, just Head in the Clouds, no cosplay. It's been a great weekend. I've been cosplaying for about 6 years. And yeah, definitely check us out if you haven't checked out Cost Talk Live before. It's a great weekly show with lots of new, fun things happening on the coming up horizons. We've been on hiatus, and this is our first show back in a month. So definitely check us out. We're on YouTube, Twitch, and
Facebook.
Facebook. Thank you.
Yes. So a little bit about what you're seeing right now. I'm going to explain this this dashboard first, and then I'll start with our history and foundation. So what you're seeing right now is what we usually see when we are streaming. We use a program, a company called StreamYard.com, and we have a paid account, but the free account is actually pretty good. It's just that they keep the logo up at the top, and there's some other limitations. But I think it is great, especially if you're going to start doing it more long term, because we've been doing this since 2020, and we tried a couple different things, and I'll talk about that more later. So you can see here, this is the admin view. The admin view can add and remove people and change the formats, so you can like cycle through and change the formats. But although there's no other camera there, so I don't know what it'll look like.
Yeah,
but you can highlight different speakers. You can do screen share. As you can see, we've got a ticker running at the bottom. We can customize that. If you look here on it would be your right. Our comments. Now these comments come from all the platforms that we connect to. So right now we are streaming simultaneously to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So we can see everyone's comments. So that is Rebecca Na. And she says, watching off and on from the hall floor, pink, hand pink waving. So that's an emoji, obviously we can't see it. But we just can't respond individually. If we respond from here, then it goes to all of the platforms. So we use that when we're sharing links or sharing information. But if we want to comment directly onto it, we usually have different team members kind of focusing on different platforms. Now,
we're waving back at you.
Yeah, we're waving back at you. And then if you go to private chat is only within the people that are in the actual chat here. Yes.
That's been a minute.
You're good.
It's a little stuck in.
Okay. Anyway, so the private chat goes between just your people in the show, so that way you guys can relay information to each other, any kind of things like that. So I want to go ahead and start with the history of Cost Talk Live. So for myself, I have a background in stage, theater, on-camera hosting, acting, and all that sort of stuff. I did start on Twitch as a streaming games, and that kind of fell by the wayside. I really like talking, and I've always had this idea of doing a cosplay talk show. And of course, during COVID, myself, Thermo Sidekick, Thermo Cosplay, and another member of our team who now moved to California, we were actually actively seeing each other pretty often because we were doing a skit for WonderCon 2020. Do I need to explain what happened? So we instantly were seeing each other from like a couple times a week to like never. And I was like, man, this sucks, right? Oh, this got canceled. So Sam and I, so Sam's thermo cosplay, she's not here because she is actually in charge of the youth masquerade right next door.
Right behind us.
Oh, that way. So otherwise she would be here, so we love her dearly. And so her and I, came up with a name, and then I said, well, how do we get started? And we're just like, you know what, let's just go live and just talk. And that literally is what we did. We did try a couple different tools. We tried OBS, which was a nightmare. It kept going all weird when I was sharing screens, and because we would Zoom call, so we used Zoom to call each other, and then I would input that into OBS. But anytime we did a screen share through Zoom, OBS freaked out, and it was like, nah, cannot compute. We tried Discord, and maybe they've improved, but that was a mess. That was a hot mess. It was like infinite windows and all these other things that I was like, whew, not working. And then Thermo Cosplay found StreamYard. And of course, we started with the trial, so we had the little logo in some of our early videos. And she's like, you know what, this is good. And she's our resident cybersecurity expert. We let her vet all of the secure things to make sure they are very, very secure. And she said, this one's good. So we've been using StreamYard pretty heavily since 2020. I think probably about the end of 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, we even did a 4-hour stream for Anime Next. Has anyone heard of Anime Next? It is an East Coast convention, a long-running East Coast convention in New Jersey, and they did a whole online con for the whole weekend, and we did a 4-hour block on StreamYard, and it was great. So StreamYard has been really, really good for us, and you can also schedule shows in advance. So when we came up with Cos Talk Live, we started out as friends who just wanted to talk about cosplay. Of course, it started out kind of slow. We didn't really know what our topics were going to be. And then people just started catching on. They were like, ooh, this is cool. We had a couple of people be like, oh man, I was so depressed until I saw your show. And now I can do something cosplay related while sitting at home like we were all supposed to be. We had people come up and say, we had someone join us from Pacific Northwest. So one of our main hosts actually is in Seattle area. And she joins us as well every Sunday. And I mean, not today, obviously, because we're doing it from here. And we've had more and more people request to join. We sometimes bring on special guests. For example, we've had Yaya Han on twice. To talk about her book and to talk about her fabric line. We've had Dust Bunny Cosplay, Air Bubbles, AK Wiru. So we've had a lot of different guests. And we also do have people from our communities come in and join the panel and talk about different topics. And we have a team now. So we started out with 4 of us. It was pretty much myself, Thermo Sidekick, Thermo Cosplay, and Ambrose Liz Todd Studios. And we kind of just did whatever we wanted to do. Lena started going more into the back scenes, and she's very good with technical things as well. And we started growing our team. When events came back for the pandemic, I was like, look, we have a great following online, but people don't really know who we are in person, especially here locally, right? So in 2022, I hustled hard, and I showed up at as many events as we could to get on the map, and that really, really helped. People love to see us in person, and we did live shows just like this, where our audience. I've been delaying on the comments.
Yeah.
We want to get to those.
Yeah, where our audience, love to see and interact with us live as well. So here we got Cool Gamer. Cool Gamer, hey, thanks for tuning in every week. We're sorry we have been on a hiatus because Phoenix Fan Fusion is tough. But thank you so much. He's watching from YouTube. Anthony, hi Anthony. Let's say hi to Anthony. Hello everyone. You're all doing a fantastic job. He says, what are you cosplaying as today? Now, we're going to do this throughout the panel today, is interact with our viewers. So that's one beautiful, magical thing about being live, is that your viewers get to interact with you and they see us talking to them. Hi Anthony. Hi Cool Gamer. And they love it. So Anthony wants to know what we're cosplaying as. You start.
So we did a whole Encanto group today. So I am Peppa, who's the one of the
Aunties?
adults. Just one of the aunties, and she's the one whose mood controls the weather. So if she gets upset, then it can start to rain, and snow.
Has anyone seen Encanto?
Hurricane.
Awesome. Yes, and I am, of course, Dolores Madrigal, and I can hear everything like I said. I know what you all have said already. No, I'm just kidding. I Your secrets are safe with me. So, and then we have other friends. Sam, Thermo Cosplay is Luisa. So if you want to see her, she's over there. And then we have another comment here. Rebecca Na says, heading to a panel, will jump on again or catch the replay, share the live, and like the stream. Thank you so much, Rebecca from YouTube. And that's another great thing is that on Facebook and YouTube, our broadcasts stay. Twitch only stays for 2 weeks. And YouTube, if we turn on captions, it will generate captions for the replay. So that is a great thing for people that have, hearing impairments, and you can always watch it on there. It'll stay on there as long as we can keep it on there. So, yeah.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yes, complimenting the Sailor Moon shirt.
Yes,
yeah, it
Anthony,
is wonderful.
Anthony, Head in the Clouds is cosplaying as our event support. So
Real MVP.
So Lena was with us since the beginning. Lena, I kind of want to get a little bit of your insight on how you felt was the growth of Crosstalk Live and your experience. I put her on the spot.
Oh no. I mean, I think it's been really great. We've added a lot of people and we've used it to network with a lot of people. We have had some hosts that have, joined and then left or, not been there from the beginning and then joined. We have some rotating people, so it's been a really great networking experience. And we have different kinds of streams. Sometimes we're just talking to a guest. Sometimes we have particular topics, particular sewing methods or foam crafting or makeup or different kinds of makeup, all sorts of different topics, which has been great. I think it was honestly almost easier to do this back during the pandemic because we didn't have anything else going on. So we had a lot more time. We weren't trying to make a costume for the con that's tomorrow. So we apologize to the fans that we haven't been as good about hosting, hey, here's our schedule for the next couple of weeks and all that kind of stuff. We are trying to work more on that and kind of getting everything back to that point. But then also, events are awesome and we're super grateful that they're back. We hope you are too. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a great point because I know I was working a lot less during COVID. And I know a lot of other people were too. I actually did a pandemic cosplay during COVID, but also managing Crosstalk Live was a lot easier. Also when we were new because it wasn't as demanding. We actually have been growing and doing a lot more. Like I said, when events started popping up, we didn't want to fall into the darkness of they're just online, they're online only. Because one of our core values is I'll tell you, all of our core values are inclusivity, education, knowledge, and support. So these are the things that we as a team, as a show, want to promote within the local communities. Well, communities all over the place. I mean, I'd love to be global, but right now we can focus on our local communities. Yeah, so what she's actually doing, you guys can see, for some reason my laptop is angry and did not want to turn on our camera. So we had to back up. I knew I might have to use my phone. So another thing with live, you have to be prepared with backup 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's beautiful because people can see it's more realistic, more human. It's not as scripted, not as staged. When things go wrong, it goes wrong. You say something funny on TV, you say something funny. You drink a beer on YouTube and they censor you and they turn off your live. Thermo Cosplay. So a lot of things that you have to keep in mind with the live, and you kind of have to be easygoing. You got to roll with it. Because yes, it gets stressful. Yes, it's difficult. But you got to keep going because there's people in there that support you and want to see it going. Anthony says, I missed you all last month, but you all had an excellent reason why. Absolutely. Again, we don't do this as our full-time job. We all have full-time jobs, and this is a labor of love for us. And I'm the founder of Crosstalk Live, and I never, ever want it to be a contention of stress or anger or conflict. Oh, you got it to work. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was disabled because the icon is what you usually see for an update, but
Awesome. So now she's going to add in herself.
To stream.
Yeah. and you get to see them. Yay! And if they're doing something rude, you can always take them out of the stream. So I believe this can hold up. So the package we have is 10, right? We can have 10 people, 10 cameras on screen. I believe so. Although, so when we talk about how many people we want on screen, let's talk a little bit about that.
I'm just kind of showing the different
the different
for
layouts.
folks that are.
In my experience, 6 is the max that you want on screen. 6. A lot of chatter, especially when they're all excited. And I love people being excited, but when we have a topic that we're all excited about, sometimes 6 is too much. Typically, we try, 2 to 3, maybe even 4. I think 4 is a really good number. Anything more than that, depending on the topic, can get really, 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 really busy. So as you can see, you can even label your name. We're both Crosstalk Live. Hi, guys. We're all waving at everybody. So this is a really great platform to use, especially for simulcasting. Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought because now I'm looking at both of us. So Lena does a lot of our backstage stuff. Lena, I mean, what has been your experience, with the live, during the live? What do you feel like is, some of the hardships you've seen?
So we have had some, hello. We certainly have had what I think anybody that's ever been on the internet has had trouble with, which is, some people, like everybody is lovely except for that one person. Nobody that's here. Everybody here is awesome. We're talking about this. But we have occasionally had people that are just, not polite comments or something that I feel like, those of us that have been in the cosplay community for even a short amount of time are really familiar with, but I feel like people that aren't in the community don't understand is you do not need to cosplay a person just because you look like them, and you can cosplay somebody that you look nothing like. And I've definitely seen tons both on here and out in the regular world, people saying like, oh, you look like this person, so you should cosplay them, or like, you don't really look like that character, so that wasn't really a great cosplay for you. And like, I'm sorry, play is more letters in cosplay than con is, or cos is, so as long as you're having fun, that's really the important part, in my opinion.
Yeah, just because we've had those incidents, you definitely want someone monitoring your stream. Obviously, as we're talking to you and to you, you're not always able to jump right into the comments and seeing what people are posting. You don't want people being rude or saying things, either to you, but also to anyone who's potentially watching your show and if you want to help protect them too and yourselves. So it's good to maybe if they're even on camera or off camera, having someone monitor, and you're really good about that.
Yeah, we usually, when I help out, which I need to do more, I'm sorry. But that's one of the main things I usually do is just kind of monitor and make sure that we don't have those, and if we do, make sure I can shut them down. One of the nice things is a lot more social media platforms are getting a lot more responsible about that kind of thing, to where you can set automatic moderation. I remember we had an issue with Twitch, this is probably several months back. But the level of our auto mod was a little more lenient, and so after that incident, we were like, okay, now we got to turn up a little bit. So sorry, guys. No, it might cut off any f-bombs or things like that, but we figure that's better than having somebody just be in there and be hateful.
Now, talking about different platforms, just because we use this as simulcast still means that we have to go into those individual platforms and set those requirements. So, and each individual platform has different requirements. YouTube is getting stricter on their adult language, so we really have to be like, oh, shoot. Yeah, so they are really strict, especially on that product placement, because when we were having a drinking show and Sam's like, logo, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, you guys are off on YouTube, but we're still on Facebook. So we had to figure out what was going on, and Sam figured out it was my beer can. So those are things that you need to take into account where you're going to stream. If you want to stream on only one platform, it's going to be much easier. Obviously, you can focus on those requirements for that platform. But if you're going to stream on multiple ones, yeah, you got to keep those in mind as well. Sometimes we have to have her logged into Twitch to be able to monitor, because even with all of the, you know, automations, there's still a lot of spam that gets through, a lot of trolls that can get through. And those show up for our guests as well. Again, like you can see, because they can see these comments as well. Anyone in the studio can see the comments, and we don't want them to feel uncomfortable. Is it censorship? Is it, you know, am I taking away their right to, you know, freedom of speech? I mean, I'm just a me. I'm not the government, and we want to promote inclusivity and positivity, and we do not need those comments. So for us, we make sure that we put that ban hammer down quick. And that's something you want to define in your community, is like, how do you want your community to feel? How do you want to present yourself to your community? And, you know, are you bringing in the right people? Like, are you drawing in the right people, or are they being scared away because, you know, those moderations aren't being made? Mods sound like, I don't need a mod, no problem. But then again, how many times have you posted on Instagram? Okay, everyone raise your hand. How many times have you posted on Instagram and it's like, promote it on Arizona Daily, promote it on My Dog Sucks, you know? It's like, really, like, it happens so fast. So to be on it, especially live, is important, because we did have one time a guest was getting uncomfortable because somebody was bothering them throughout the stream.
Yeah.
And that's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
And I mean, it's not like we're like, hey, don't have an opinion or even like have a thing. I think it's a really good opportunity to educate people. It was just in this particular situation, like it was like sexual harassment level to the max, like no question. So like, I want everybody to feel comfortable to ask questions and like say things, because if we can educate you first, we will. That was just somebody that was like 1,000% out to be a troll.
And while we're a safe space for everyone, we're going to be a safe space for you guys as well, and looking out for ourselves too. So again, that being part of our, you know, creed is very important. That's something we're going to stand by.
And you know, Lena's right. There's a time and a place. And definitely we want to educate those people that, you know, may just be ignorant. They don't know, they're sheltered. I don't like to assume that everyone's just being mean because they want to be. But in that instance, because we were highlighting our guest, we didn't, you know, that was not the time and place to be educating that person about how they should be behaving. At that moment, we just got to get rid of them, because that's, you know, that's not the battle we're fighting right now. You know, we want to focus on our guest and give them as much time, screen time, and, you know, attention that they deserve, because we asked them to be on this show. So important whenever you're building your community. Don't think you can go in it alone. A lot of people start streaming on Twitch, and maybe you start with gaming, right? Gaming's pretty easy. But what if you're gaming and somebody's just blowing up in your chat? I don't know. You're like, I only have 5 viewers. It doesn't matter. Somebody could find whatever and just, you know, that's their hobby, is just trolling. And I had it one time where I was unboxing something and there was a troll going, and I was by myself and I was like so flustered. I'm like, oh my gosh. And here I am on camera, like trying to figure out, because I had all these cameras set up, and I was by myself trying to edit all those comments.
It'll change the focus and the mood very quickly. So it's again, trying to have that professionality of, you know, just nipping it in the bud. You know, if they have that conversation and they reach out, you know, somehow, you know, you can have that conversation with them. But you're on live. It's you're streaming, and it's, you know, you only have a certain amount of time that, you know, maybe you're just doing an hour stream. You don't want that to eat up your time and have that become your focus of your stream.
Well, and I like switching this kind of into a positive way as well. You know, based on the content that you provide, and, you know, if you decide to have guests, who you decide to have on as guests and stuff like that, in the same way that you can set the tone by showing what you're not happy with, you can also show what kind of a show you want to be, or what kind of a presenter you want to be by what you do have on. Like, you know, what are the things I want to focus on, or do I just want to be kind of a mishmash of everything, which is totally fine. You know, variety shows have been a thing forever and will continue to be a thing forever, because, you know, multiple things make it less boring. So yeah, definitely think about where you want it to go, but also be open to kind of pivoting, because usually once you start doing something, you'll find that, oh, wait, I kind of want to change this a little bit, and that
growth
a little bit,
isn't
the
always
other.
linear.
Yes.
You know, you may find something that you have in common, and that might kind of shift your gear there for a second. Or you might go off on a different path, or you're going to find new things because you're creating that community and safe space. So you're going to learn things, and they're going to also absorb those things, but teach you things as well if you're open to it, if you're lucky enough.
Yeah, you can start with the video games and go to cosplay or vice versa, or there's so many other topics out there. There's people that live stream.
There's a German grandma
lunch.
that reads
It's very fun.
nighttime stories, and she's got like 1 million viewers. It's amazing. There's something for everybody out there. But as we were talking about taking the break and restructuring, so to talk a little bit more about our process, before, like I said, it was pretty low key, it was chill, relaxed, but then that's how we kind of started to get disorganized. And again, as we became more active in the physical community, coming to events, we started pulling more people to help us at events. People wanted to come see us. They wanted us to do live shows at the event. And that is going to take more manpower. So we brought on more people to help us that maybe just do specifically just events. They do online tech, or some do promotions, social media. And again, we're all still doing it as a hobby. But what the goal was this month was to take the month off, and we actually have been having meetings and restructuring our structure. So I'll talk a little bit about how we kind of go into scheduling and creating episodes. So what we do is, again, we keep it consistent. We stream every Sunday, and I think we're probably going to move to 5 or 6.
In the evening. What we might be doing,
Yeah, because as we get busier, we're all doing stuff. So, but just keep an eye on that. You can follow our socials. So one key, keep it consistent. We might do another offshoot day. We have tried it in the past where we do like a Wednesday night craft night. But that's something that you want to do once you've got your regular schedule consistent, you've got your regular viewers, and then you can add another day and they'll follow suit. Secondly, what we do is we create kind of a basis of the episode. So we have, let's say, for example, we have 4 episodes a month. That's about 4 weeks a month, right? So we will designate the first episode as the recap of the last month, recap of the events, kind of just the team talking about anything that's coming up. Sometimes we do these cosplay challenges where we have people on social media submit. So let's say we do sports. So whatever you think a sport is, we're not here to judge you, but you share your picture and then we'll show it on the show. And that's almost always going to be our first show of the month. Now, because we do it this way, we don't have to think about it as much. And then we're going to have one episode where we do something educational. Yes, we have done on-camera tutorials and on-camera workshops. And we get a lot of great feedback about that. So it may be like how to use a Dremel on foam, how to create a bodice and insert boning. It could be how to do scary face paint, and Thermal Cosplay is amazing with that. We did a whole Halloween thing where she put the zombie thing on my face. Yeah, it was scary. And then we went to go have sushi, and they were like, "What?"
But even beyond, some of the your basic cosplay, makeup, stitching, sewing, making. We also talk about the safety of the products you're using. Mm-hmm. So we try to have that branch topic, but also again, it might spit off. It might become something else where.
Yeah, and just personal safety too, and all sorts of it definitely expands into a lot of different things.
We did that panel this weekend, our first time, just talking about safety in general as a cosplayer. So we want to make sure you're a well-rounded cosplayer, not just be the costume is definitely part of it, but there's so much more to be aware of and confident.
Yeah,
cognizant of.
When we say we're Cos Talk Live, we literally touch every topic related to cosplay, and you all know cosplay spans so many different genres, branches. We cosplay because we have fandoms. We cosplay because maybe we were in theater. There's so many different reasons why we cosplay, and we like to be able to reach all of those audiences. So like Matt said, a third episode, we might have a topic. like cosplayer safety, or let's talk about traveling with cosplay. We do a lot of those really fun ones. Or we talk about how to choose your character, how to pose, or even we talk about like LGBTQ plus, you know, in the community, or cosplaying with disabilities. If you guys know Lunar Lynn, who was the best in show last night, she was on our show because she actually does have a hidden illness. And that's, you know, that kind of works to her advantage because she can just be at home and work on her cosplay for a long period of time, but she doesn't output as many because, you know, she gets really tired very quickly. So we like to delve into these different topics that make people feel included, because, you know, if you have a disability that people can see, right? I feel like the public kind of already is a little more prepared to, you know, interact. But when you have hidden illnesses, they don't know, you know, especially as a cosplayer, because when we're in costume, people want to approach us. So that just definitely helps. We'd love to get those topics out there. Now the last, and usually on those, sometimes we'll bring in like friends who are not on the main host to kind of just like add in their expertise or a little bit of, you know, conversation into those topics. Now, once a month, we do like to try to bring in a really special guest, like Yaya, we'll bring her back, or, you know, other cosplayers out there. Gosh, they're all like leaving my brain right now.
I know Choco started as a guest, and then
Choco started as a guest, and
like,
she kept coming back.
Yep, and so we just added her to
Yeah,
our
she's a regular
rotation
now.
because she's amazing.
Yeah, and those kind of things happen very organically. People are like, how do I become a host on Cost Talk Live? Now, this show is not about like, let's make money, let's do the views. It's all about, you know, that everyone that's on the team follows the values. For me, that is important. If your values do not align, you can't represent Cost Talk Live, because we are not about that. So when we do get people that are guests and we're like, oh, you know, we really like, you know, how you think, we really like how you present and how you want to represent. So then we invite them to be on the show regularly. And we've only done that with Chaco. So yeah, everyone else has kind of been like, you know, the other team stands in when needed. But we'll go for like, gosh, why can I not think of any other cosplayers right now that I follow? Dust Bunny is another big one. We've had her on before, but those are people that have, you know, a notoriety. Maybe they have products. Kamui Cosplay, I would love to have her on, except time zones are weird. So that would be like a special guest, an honored guest episode where the focus is them, their craft, their business, their insights to cosplay, regardless of what they do, if they model or if they sew. Like, we don't have any kind of judgments on that. We want to see cosplay from all different angles. And we want our audience to see that as well. So that's kind of what we do with the month. Now, if we feel motivated, we might throw in like a crafting stream. And yes, we have done Con Crunch streams. We do not promote Con Crunch. But if you're gonna crunch, yeah, if you're gonna crunch, we usually stream it, and we have done that where we all just get on and like stab it. We're like, oh no, I gotta finish this. And we love to do craft streams so people can feel inspired. They're like, ah, cool. Oh, they're doing that, or you might learn something. I always talk about like pressing your seams, and people are always like, oh, I didn't know press seams. Like, yes. Learn something new every day. So how do we go about planning these episodes? Sometimes somebody will take charge of an episode. If it's something that they're passionate about, they have an idea, or maybe the guest is their connection. I'm always open to letting someone, one of the other hosts, take over a whole episode and plan it out. I use a program called ClickUp. Does anyone know what ClickUp is? Have you heard of Monday.com, Trello, Asana? It's an online organizing platform. Kind of like, it does scheduling, it does calendars.
Project management.
Project management, yes,
Yes.
thank you. I'm not a project manager. A lot of smaller companies tend to use them, and I found it's great to put all of the information in one place. So there I have a whole calendar, and a lot of automations. So if I make this post, okay, here's the show for July 1st, and it's this title and this and this. And once I set the date on it, it goes into my master calendar. So, oh, she's online shopping now.
I figured I'd see if there's like any I didn't want to go to your ClickUp, but I figured I'd just like
I don't
put
think
some pictures.
it might, well, yeah. But so we use ClickUp to keep those things organized. We also have places where you can dump ideas. So there's an idea list where you literally just go in and say, gloves. You know, and our team can just throw out ideas in there, and then if somebody else feels inclined, they can go in and kind of add more ideas. And this is kind of how we come up with more of the niche topics. Of course, we know that there's very common topics. There's wigs, there's posing for photos, but there's not a lot of how to make your own dentures, you know, like maybe that's a thing. How to apply a silicone appliance, you know, to somewhere else other than your face. So there's a lot of these niche topics that we would love to cover. We just can't get to those points, or maybe we just need an expert to help us with that. And that's where we might reach out to guests or other cosplayers in the community to join our panel. What we do is, and then we contact them either. If they're very active on Instagram, we're very flexible. So if they're very active on Instagram, we might contact them through Instagram. If they're active on Facebook, we'll use that platform as well. And of course, we invite them, kind of give them the intro of what our show does. And obviously encourage them to watch so they can get an idea of what it's like. And then see if they want to join the show, and then we go from there. And then we schedule out the shows, and they pop up as events. Now on StreamYard, you can schedule a show in advance on Facebook.
This guy's a little bit of a chonker.
Sorry, live audience. We got unplugged and we're back.
There we go.
So you can actually schedule a show for the future on Facebook, and it pops up as an event. So it's amazing because now you have an event. We have noticed that we do get more viewers when we do have events ahead of time on Facebook.
At least like 2 weeks, I think. As well.
Yes, at least 2 weeks is pretty standard. Because I was so slammed this month, it did not get posted. But hey, again, we're human. So it did not get posted. And but also, the other thing that you need to remember, even though you are streaming and we can see our viewer count, can you? Oh, I'm not in the admin here. So we can see our viewer count, which is not always accurate because again, it's pulling from 3 different platforms, but we do get a lot more reach after the show. So do not be alarmed if there's 1 person or 0 people watching. The one key thing that I will give you about live streaming, what time are we at, is you perform for an audience of 100,000 at all times, even if there's only your mom watching. Okay, because again, like I said, these broadcasts stay on forever. You also don't want people to jump in to see you like, nobody's watching me. Oh my God, I'm so bored. Because then they're just gonna leave. So you always have to be on it. If you're not ready to be on it 100% of the time, maybe it's not time for you to start streaming live. So always perform for that audience of anybody, not 0. Whenever we have our streams afterwards, a lot of people don't actually know that watch us live. They don't know that it's broadcasted later, but then we also get a lot of people that watch it later and don't realize that we do it live. So it definitely helps because we'll see comments later, people like, I'm like, oh no, it's not live. So definitely helps to be ready for either audience. Either you're gonna have a live audience or you're gonna have a pre-recorded audience. And when you do that, your growth, it will take off. So we definitely see more growth in our recorded broadcasts, and especially if you can do things like closed captioning on YouTube. We do have different audiences on Facebook versus YouTube versus Twitch, and that we keep in mind as well. We want to be able to cater to all of them at the same time, however we can do it. Yeah? Do you have any input on kind of the 3 different platforms and streaming?
Not particularly there, but I do know that like managing so many social, because there's so many out there these days. And one of the things that I would definitely recommend for somebody getting fresh into this is looking, if you're wanting to post a lot, particularly pictures, there's a number of social media managers where you can like post it on one like social media manager, and it will put it on Twitter and Facebook and if it's a picture,
like
Instagram, and like a whole bunch of your linked accounts, so you only have to do it once rather than multiple places. Unfortunately, when it comes to streaming videos, that's not always the case because the way that they present that video can be a little bit different. Particularly, like we usually go into Facebook because you can like set it as a schedule, so like that we can like kind of pre-announce it, like here's an event sort of a thing. But it is still really helpful to be able to use the dashboard and just everything rather than having to go into each individual one.
And we've tried that in the very beginning. It was not fun.
It's going to be a lot of trial and error. You gotta
Yes.
find what works for you.
Absolutely. And we have a couple comments here. Anthony says, dun, 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 dun,
Lots of Anthony.
have you ever played Honkai Star Rail? If yes, I don't know that game.
It's
Let me
like Genshin, but future space.
on the phone.
It's on the phone, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And,
No, we'll check it out. And you should also check out Sapphire Nova Cosplay. Yes, we are friends with Miss Sapphire Nova. She is a lovely cosplayer. We love to share cosplayers here as well. That's why we do our monthly challenges. Now, I lost my train of thought again. Branding. Okay, so now, how do we get the word out? As Lena said, there are lots of platforms that you can do multiple posting from. If you didn't know though, Facebook and Instagram, you can use Meta and post to both. So that if that's just the two you use, that is a great way to do it for free. If you have more platforms, you may end up paying, but that's up to you. That's really your decision. Usually what I do, and I didn't do it today because my phone now is acting as the camera, is you always want to make sure that you get that marketing out there. So marketing is important because if you just go live and like didn't tell anybody, yeah, it is going to be your mom watching because she's like, yay, honey, oh, I see you on TV. And you're like, okay. And so what you want to do is, again, at least minimum 2 months out, get that on your calendar, get that on your Facebook. Now from Facebook, you can post from Facebook event to your Instagram story. So a lot of people don't have Facebook these days. No problem. Just take that event, post it on Instagram. You're going to want to hit all your different platforms, at least that 2 weeks out, and then a couple days before, and then the day of, you're going to want to share it out as well. What I do is I share the direct link of us being live into other groups. One secret though is always add a caption. Even if the caption's already in the post, when you share it, just type it again.
Some people search and it doesn't read the text in the picture, at least not currently.
Some groups automatically reject too if you just send a post with no text.
Text, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's another thing to keep an eye on, as well as remember your audience. So what does your audience use? Maybe they use TikTok. I honestly don't. I'm way too old for TikTok. So if you use TikTok, promote it on TikTok. I don't think they do lives, though.
You have to have 1,000 followers to do it.
Dang. See, I don't know anything about TikTok. So know your audience, know the platform that they use, and adjust it to how they want to receive that information. Now, as Matt said, we have evolved from the very beginning, and we kind of have been getting an idea of what our audience and community like. So one day we were super, super busy, and Thermocosp was like, let's draw. So obviously it's not about cosplay, but again, you are the show. So we obviously, as you can see, our audience is asking us questions directly because they feel connected to us, not just the cosplay show. So remember that you are also the one that makes it interesting. So sometimes our audience want to interact with us. And so that drawing day was a little bit different. It was for us to try. It was a trial. And we kind of thought, you know what, once in a while, let's do a little bit of community building. We can do like a let's play Jackbox or let's play this other game together because we found out that that's what our community wants. So you don't need to change yourself 100%. Like if they want you to start stripping, okay, I'll strip for you. No, you do whatever you're comfortable with and what you want with your audience. If the wrong audience is asking something of you that you don't want, then you don't need that audience, right? Like you choose your path, you choose what you show, what you share, and you choose how you want, people to receive it. So it's always important to remember who you are in your core, remember your values, set up your values. If you don't have values, I feel like even values in my personal, I do a lot of personal development. So finding values in my personal life was helpful. Finding it in Cos Talk Live has been really, really clarifying. It brought a lot of clarity to us, our team, and our structure.
Well, even that's a good segue. Like when you were brought up, and we'll keep this quick because I know we're running short on time. But when you brought up, going from you guys just kind of hanging out and being Cost Talk Live to suddenly going back to the event space, I believe it was Phoenix last year, where we actually had a booth, and that's why you needed those other people, because we did the community outreach. It's you can only say hi and wave at people, but to actually see people there and meet new people, and really be there as a safe zone, but also as just kind of a community outreach is kind of what I think we've focused and are focusing on. We really just want to build an inclusive and safe community, because sometimes that's not always around you.
Absolutely. And remember, we are always a safe space. Cost Talk Live, me and my team members, that's why they are on the team, is because we do follow those same values, and we do agree to be a safe space.
We really should put like a sign when we booth.
Yeah.
A safe space sign.
We totally should.
Happy Pride Month,
Happy Pride.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we also definitely are cool with, like, if you want to come up to us and be like, oh, hey, because you've got somebody that
Mhm.
is making you feel uncomfortable. Like, if I don't know you, I'm still gonna be like, hey, or
What's
if
up,
you
buddy? I
need
was
some
looking for
help
you.
or whatever, just let us know. That's,
Yeah.
And
that's what we
if
want to
you
do.
don't, we make sure we know what, like, when we did our safety, we found the Phoenix, code of conduct, and we're talking about that, where to go if you do have an issue, who to talk to if you have an issue. We will know those things. So if you need help, find us, and we'll make sure to get you to the right place, even if we don't know, that specific topic, or even if it's a cosplay question, any range, we're here for it.
Absolutely. So in the end, what you really want to do is make sure that you stay true to yourself, number one. And number two, get those values in order. And when you so if you don't understand how values work, again, like I said, values our values are education, information, inclusivity, and support. Also, it's like safety's in there too. But whenever we think about what are we going to talk about, does it fall within those 5 categories or does it not? What about this guest? Do they also fall in with these 5 categories, or are they just in it for, and I'm not judging. If you're in it for the money, you're in it for the money. We all got to pay bills, but maybe that's not what we want to promote. We want to promote more of a creative, more creative growth and support. But hey, that's you do you, that's great.
Yeah, we also have a Discord.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we also have Discord.
Yeah, we have some people that actually kind of only participate in the Discord, so that is totally fine. If you're like, I do not have enough time to watch. There's so many amazingly talented people that I want to follow and watch, and I have a job that is a lot of hours. So just being able to, have other people that you can feel comfortable chatting with and that sort of thing. We certainly, we hope that you can follow us on all the things and do all the things, but if you can't, just stop on by.
Now, I think one thing that you need to remember that is very important for anybody that gets in front of a camera or gets in front of a mic or talks to the public is that words have power. Okay, I want everyone to understand this, that your words, they mean something. They might not mean anything to you, but they might have an impact on somebody else. So what we share, what we say, that's important to us as well, because, we vet what we do. We, do our research, us as Cost Talk Live. If we hear something, we make sure that we know what we're saying before we say it out loud. You won't hear it from us. And if we do make mistakes, we're human, so we will own up to that.
This
But
is why I'm not usually.
well, one time I said buttholes on stream, and I was like, I did it again. Oh no, sorry, YouTube. But yeah, so of course, again, you are human, but I think if your intentions are there, that you want to spread correct information, good education, support, and you want to be inclusive, and your heart's there, you're doing as much as you can as a human being. We're not AI.
The rest if you're doing that and your passion's in it, the rest is just going to follow. So make sure it's something that you really want to do and your heart's in it.
Absolutely. So we're gonna anyone have any questions before we wrap up here?
We appreciate you being here.
Even if it's not related to Cost Talk Live, do you have any
Yeah.
cosplay questions or anything like that? If you don't, that's totally okay.
Now
We're on
another
the spot, not you.
Now, another great thing about my team is that I love to have a lot of different points of views. So I am primarily a seamstress. So I primarily do stitching. I can do wigs. Now Lena, I love Lena because she is the found object expert.
Sewing machine gives me nightmares. It's scary. It's in the corner, and it's like, hello.
It's got a face on it.
Your fabric. It won't sew right. Shut the needle.
Oh,
Yeah,
you don't like
my
being a
sewing
client.
lines look like kindergartner or like whatever. So the more I can find, the better.
She is brilliant. So yesterday she wore from Sync 2, she wore Mrs. Crawley. Does anyone recognize what? It's like a lizard lady. And I was like, what? How did you do that?
Yeah, so again, I like to just take existing things that I can find and retrofit them. So I was surfing around and I'm like, I cannot make a lizard from scratch. No way, I'm not that talented. So I just went online and looked for a bunch of lizard and iguana and I was searching a bunch of different random keywords and I found this iguana suit that was super cute. But the eyes were on the side, just I've been looking for dinosaur or lizard or any of that kind of stuff. And then I found that one. I'm like, yes, perfect. So we redid, closed the eyes, the original one, sorry. And then I just used some extra fabric from it because I don't need it under the dress.
So she cut it from the chin, I think, right?
Yeah, so I kept it to about my bust because I wanted to keep the arms as well.
Oh, yeah.
But from here down, I didn't need the rest of that costume other than the tail.
Because she's wearing a dress.
So I just used some of the extra fabric to be
the eyeball.
The eyelids,
The
and
eyelids.
eyeball, yeah.
And then she used foam to make these little eyelashes. And what was it? A styrofoam ball for the eyeballs, right?
Yes.
And it was so brilliant. I was like, dude, I would have probably tried to make that reptile head from scratch and then hated myself very much. And Sam is, thermal cosplay is amazing at a lot of different things. Special effects makeup is one of her specialties. So we like to have a lot of different levels. I know some people are like, oh, but you've been cosplaying for 22 years and I've only been cosplaying for, I think Sam literally said that to me. And I'm like, Sam, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long I've been cosplaying. It's really what did you learn? What do you want to teach? What can you share?
A master can teach a novice and a novice can still
Sam teaches me stuff all the time and I teach her stuff all the time. So
yeah, and my sewing machine gives me nightmares and they still somehow seem to be impressed with some of the stuff I do.
and she walked up with this lizard and I'm like, that's so cute.
So yeah, you don't have to be the person I have all the respect in the world for everybody that competes in a masquerade and all the hard work that they do. And they should absolutely showcase hey, look how hard I worked on this. But every once in a while when I'm seeing masquerades or things like that, I feel it's almost like a competition of you did 50 hours, well, I did 70 hours.
I did 800 hours.
Total props for anybody that can do that. Don't stop doing it. But I do think that you can be worthy whatever your level is at. You don't have to be super craziest top person. I bought this one.
She's so good at the throwing together.
Yes.
So good at it.
Yeah, laziness means creativity.
Well, and I've learned from these guys because I was gonna make this from scratch because that's just the first thing in my brain. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm just gonna buy it because I had to hand paint it anyway. And I'm like, let's not double the work. So I actually bought the pieces and altered them as I needed to and hand painted them. So for me, as a seamstress to start, it took a lot of learning curve for me to kind of step back from that. And I learned it from these guys. So surround yourself with the people that you want to, be like or learn from and bring them on your show. Let everybody love you. And I think you're going to have a great journey. So, yeah. Any other comments?
Yeah, I was just making sure we got all the comments.
So any other last questions? If not, you guys are welcome to come up here and take so we have our little stickers here. I don't know if anyone's ever seen us in person, but we have these stickers with QR codes, and this QR code goes to our YouTube. And that's mostly because we want to grow our YouTube right now. So you're welcome to a sticker. And I also do have my business cards. Again, I'm over by Wild Bill's. Refill your soda. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your Phoenix Fan Fusion. Yay! And now she's going to hit end broadcast, don't forget.
Yeah.
And then there's another one.